Shocking news! Prince Charles officially accuses Meghan Markle of turning Harry into a puppet. In its October 4th issue, Us Weekly magazine claimed that Prince Charles was not impressed when he saw Harry and Markle's Time magazine cover. Duke of Cornwall allegedly thinks that Meghan Markle turned Harry into a puppet. So even though the heir to the throne understands that Prince Harry is doing everything for Markle because he loves her, he also thinks that his son has turned into a puppet. A source claimed that Prince William and Kate Middleton also share the same sentiments with Prince Charles. It's like he's trapped in her world and can't see beyond it anymore. The honeymoon period doesn't last forever, the source said, but regardless of what Prince Charles, Prince William, and Middleton might think, Prince Harry doesn't have any plans to look back. He is excited about what the future holds. He has a ton of exciting projects on the horizon in America and globally, and is dedicated to being the best husband and father he can be. He and Meghan are going to grow old together. They have each other's backs no matter what, the source said. Meanwhile, the tabloid also discussed Prince Harry's relationship with Queen Elizabeth. They said that the two have been in regular contact with each other. However, that doesn't mean that the monarch has forgotten all the things that Prince Harry and Markle said about the royal family. After all, the Queen is just picking up her grandson's call, but she cannot forget the damage that he and his wife left on the firm. At the same time, it can be said about Prince William and Prince Harry's relationship that according to the source, it's going to take a lot for Prince William and Prince Harry's relationship to go back to how it once was. And there's also a possibility that the brothers will never mend their broken relationship. After all, the royal family turned anger into action when thinking about Prince Harry and Markle and what they've done on a daily basis. Indeed, the royals go about their day and make sure to perform their royal duties to the best of their ability. Prince William and Middleton are also focused on raising their children, and they want to make sure that Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis won't grow up in a toxic environment ever. And with the Sussex couple, there's one last thing to remember. In a relationship, the one who loves the least controls the relationship. It's very clear when we look at Harry and the actress. Personally, I think she will continue to grip him with her iron claws because she is aging poorly and he represents her meal ticket with promising inheritances ahead. I can accept that Harry is happily in love with Meghan, or at least he believes he is, but I can't accept their hypocrisy and how he has been brainwashed into becoming an ungrateful, greedy, monetized commercial entity to satisfy Meghan's and likely Marcus Anderson's undeniable thirst for fame and fortune above all else. Note the negative media attention and cameras don't seem to bother him now, let alone cause him the anxiety and the flashbacks that seemingly led to their departure from the British royal family. I would like to believe that. Has Harry given up a great deal for Meghan? He must be deeply in love with her, but is she in love with him? If you look at the pictures of Harry pre-Meghan, he is mostly pictured smiling and looking happy. Recently, post-Meghan, there are many photos of him not breaking into a smile there, and there's somewhat that he's heavily photoshopped, and somewhere there is a slight smile, but it does not reach into his eyes. It seems like a one-way affair. People who are skilled at reading body language seem to focus on Meghan being the dominating partner and using well-known techniques to exert control. That is not our area of expertise, but their explanations do seem to bear out the images that have been published. Harry was well played by a derailed woman that knows how to trigger emotions for her own benefit. We've seen an emotional hostage due to his vulnerability and lack of emotional intelligence. I give it another 4 years, tops. Why? Because then she'll have been together 9 years, the length of time she was with Trevor Engelson, before she kicked him to the curb. Now, if Harry's father doesn't want to be around when Harry is, does it surprise you that no one has sympathy for Harry and Meghan? The couple abandoned their responsibilities, which they knew well, and Harry's family as well. And I think the abandonment would have been accepted. It's the constant dragging the royals in the media to stay in it themselves and the veiled accusations against the royals. No one would blame them for stepping down, but they act like they are still entitled to all the perks of the situation that they voluntarily walked away from. Entitlement doesn't look pretty on anyone, and is especially hideous on someone with a fortune of their own. I doubt even Prince Charles would wish to be near a son who has turned out to be the black sheep of the family. He is a disgrace, and the quicker he leaves these shores, the happier many will be. There was not a lot of chance that Charles could see Harry in a meaningful way. Every time he comes back to the UK, I understand that Harry is staying in the country for the minimum possible time. All the indications are that Harry will be returning to Meghan soon afterward. The problems there are ones that can't be solved in a quick chat. In any case, I suspect there is a great deal of concern that whatever is said between the two will be spun and released to the press. It can't be easy having meetings with someone who can't be trusted to keep private conversations private. Well, it really isn't anything to do with him, is it? This is his sons who are now adults honoring their mother from whom he was divorced, and if they were still children, he may well have felt the need to be there and support them, such as walking with them behind their mother's hearse, but they are adults, and Harry has made it plain he's not interested in speaking to his father, as he finds it unproductive. All will change if anything happens to our queen. He'll have to keep it in with Pa to retain his links to the royal family. Then it's a great shame that instead of keeping their big mouths shut, it is now an embarrassment to visit the family. Lily runs the risk of never meeting the grandmother that she is named after, and I'm sorry, Zoom is a poor substitute for a hug from her great-grandmother. Not only that, but they've actually insulted the entire world's population. All of us are trying to live with the restrictions that the COVID pandemic has forced on us. Many people do not have enough food for their families or shelter from the weather. Too many of us have lost loved ones and had them die alone under such terrible conditions. And yet, for entertainment value, we're supposed to be interested in a wealthy, privileged couple who have nothing good to say about anyone, and only a litany of complaints and unfair finger-pointing. Using Oprah's camera and a mega microphone, Meghan told the entire world a laundry list of lies about members of the Queen's family. Oh, how I wished I could lay her hand on that blanket, which she allegedly claimed was Her Majesty shared with her in the Queen's official car. My property is big enough so I could fight and light a big fire. Dear Lord, you know I suspect that was another lie. I very much so believe that Meghan is suffering from a lethal overdose of inferiority complex, which explains why lying is her favorite pastime. Meghan Markle stops disrespecting Her Majesty and instead focus on her husband's mental health problem, for which you claim he needs help. It just shows that these two are so immature and lazy. They sit in a multi-million-pound compound mansion. Some of, if not major, part of that was paid for by the father, who he seems to berate and insult. They do nothing in terms of real work, but try and elicit support by reading the news and making comments on all and any current issues that they think will result in more support from people whose annual salaries are probably a third of what Meghan Markle spends on clothes annually, flying in private jets whilst lecturing about the environment. Wasters, complete wasters. People that consistently lie and cheat their way through life don't deserve any sympathy when it all goes horribly wrong. I can't understand anyone who thinks that it's okay for the Queen to go out of her way to welcome Markle to the UK and then to be stabbed in the back by her. It is just a despicable way to behave, and as a country, we are well rid of them.